If you're someone like me and you follow the news surrounding Nintendo and Nintendo Switch 2 very closely, it's highly likely you've heard either from my channel or other places on the internet that essentially Nintendo Switch 2 got its ass kicked this Black Friday by the only platform that actually was running true sales, and that is PlayStation 5. It got its ass kicked in multiple countries in Europe, and yes, here in the United States. And again, this isn't surprising when you consider PlayStation 5 was the only one of the quote-unquote big three, or is it the big four now with that Next system? And anyways, regardless, it was the only one on sale with steep discounts. Obviously was a huge reason it was successful this holiday season. But does that mean the Switch 2 hasn't been successful? Remember, Nintendo increased their projections of Switch 2 sales from 15 million this fiscal year to 19 million for the whole fiscal year. Well, we have some updated sales data coming from friend of the channel, Paul Gale Network. Paul Gale Network has been severely accurate on this sort of sales information before Nintendo ever reveals it. And to be clear, this sales information is just as of the date of him posting that sales information. That's not going to be the total sales for the quarter, which should be obviously higher than that number, considering that there's like the whole of December to count still. That being said, we are going to dive into this and talk about it and the implications and why some people are like championing and cheering and feeling that Nintendo has failed this holiday season. So clearly they're going to listen and lower the prices on everything, and why others are like, actually, Nintendo's doing just fine and well within what they expected. Let's go ahead and remind you, we are giving away 3 copies of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. It's for Switch 2. You can enter through the link down in the pinned comment or the description. We are on our road to 170,000 subscribers, by the way, so I'd appreciate if you are enjoying this and you want to stay up to date on Nintendo. Hey, go ahead and subscribe right here. Let's go ahead and look at this piece of news from Paul Gale Network. So, Paul Gale Network put out here on X saying, welcome to 15 million Nintendo Switch 2 and to Nintendo Switch hitting 155 million. Now, what is that? Pat Back Nitro here says the Switch is now 6 million units away from surpassing the PlayStation 2. It stays selling its consistent 300K units a month. Means it'll surpass it by 2027. And yeah, Paul Gale says his projections have it around the summer of 2027. He says, where are you getting these numbers from? Some individuals that have some sales data. I don't know what else they expect. He's not about to divulge his sources. But yeah, pretty interesting. Obviously, Nintendo will drop the official numbers in February. Now, look, this is very, very interesting when you consider Switch 2 seemingly, at least statistically, is getting its ass thoroughly kicked this holiday season. And hey, the system isn't entirely sold out. You've been able to buy it somewhere at some point every single day this holiday season. Yes, some websites have ran out of stock temporarily and before they got restocked. Yes, some stores ran out of stock temporarily before they got restocked, but at no point was it impossible in one way or another to buy a Switch 2 this holiday season. We've never seen that in a system's first holiday, but that's mostly because of the primary reason being that most consoles launched during the holiday period. Switch, it was even really, really hard to get during the holiday period, but there also was a major exclusive game pushing sales. And no offense to Kirby, no offense to Age of Imprisonment, you're not Mario Odyssey. Mario Odyssey is a much bigger pusher than either of those games, even combined. So, that said, assuming that Paul Gale's numbers are correct here, and I have no reason not to believe them, one, it means the Switch 2 has surpassed the Wii U. So, hey, can't think Switch 2 is going to be the worst selling, Nintendo system of all time now. It already surpassed the one that did that. That was Wii U. So anyways, it also hit 15 million, which, if you remember, that was Nintendo's original projections for the entire fiscal year that runs through March of 2026. So we still have like 4 months to go. Now, when did he post this? Well, he did post this back on the 5th of December. So this has been known now for about 4 days. So yeah, there's 4 days of additional sales data not included in there for December, and obviously the rest of December as well. Again, Nintendo is projecting 19 million, and if they're already at 15, that explains a lot. Now, I want to explain something about this 15 number. This is indeed sell-in. We're not talking about sell-through, because Nintendo, technically, sell-through numbers are all estimates. whereas sell-in is not an estimate because that's how many units Nintendo has literally already collected paychecks for and sent out to retail. So Nintendo has exact counts for that. That's why they can give you that exact, and why the other one they can't, because you get some data for some retailers, you get, bits of data from other retailers and none from other ones. So yeah, you never really know 100% for sure. But they do know how many units that they sold in. So that number is exact. So yeah, 15 million. Nintendo expected to sell that for the full fiscal year. Obviously, them hitting that now is nothing but good news for them. It also goes to show that things must have been selling fairly well over the last month and a half. At least a couple million units moving between October and November worldwide, if not more. I think that this is all just good news. I think we're in this world where, when I'm seeing some videos, and I've definitely seen them, and it's understandable why, seeing videos talking about how terribly Switch 2 is selling this holiday season, right? Talking about how, hey, it's been $50 off since Cyber Monday at all these online places, and they're price matching in stores now, and look, they're selling the bundle. Look, even Nintendo got rid of the moniker on the bundle. They're going to keep the bundle going beyond the holiday. Obviously, this is all signs that Switch 2 isn't going according to plan. Nintendo's in trouble. Oh no, what are we ever gonna do? Poor sweet Nintendo. All right, a couple of things. One, we're just talking about system sales. For starters, system sales don't really matter to me, you, or most any consumer. Why? Do I sit here when I have an iPhone and worry about how many units the iPhone sold? No, I don't even think about it. The only reason I even think about it with Switch 2 is because I cover the news for it, and I want it to do well enough out the gate to continue to get third-party games. It's clearly already done that. It's already hit Nintendo's old projection. It is obviously going to go beyond that, probably come close to Nintendo's actual 19 million new projection. Look, obviously this means it's ahead of pace. It's doing fine. Look, I talked about this at the time on why I didn't overreact to PlayStation did 62%. Nintendo did only 23, 24. Okay, and what if PlayStation 5 massively overperformed and did 1.5 million units? You go about half of that, and all of a sudden, hey, look, that's actually really good numbers for Nintendo Switch too. So this is what I mean. Without the context, you don't know. 15 million is a pretty good context. It lets us know how much they've sold. Remember, Nintendo reported just over 10.36 million at their last fiscal report. And before that, Paul Gale was reporting about 1.5 million less than that, about a month and a half before that. So yeah, you could look at this and go, man, is Nintendo going to cross 16 million this holiday season? Probably, maybe even 16 and a half, 17. We still haven't hit the major sales period in Japan yet. Now, again, I think that the narrative spinning is, it gets to a point where I don't really know what are we trying to do here as content creators. Okay, when I cover sales data, it's just news. I'm just giving you news. To this video, this Paul Gale stuff, this is news. I'm just delivering it to you, giving some opinions on it. Whether those opinions are positive or negative, it's still just opinions. You can take it and you can disagree with it. You could think these sales are terrible. You could think these sales are awesome. I think the Switch 2 is clearly doing just fine. If it hit 15 million by December 5th, that's incredible. I don't know how that could be spun into a negative. So I sit back and I go, okay, so then why are all these places spinning it to a negative? Well, when you look at the places doing that, it's the same places that have just been talking negative this whole time. It's like they have the inability to see beyond what's already formed in their mind. And what's in their mind is Switch 2 is doing terribly. It's overpriced. No one wants to buy the thing. And so when they see stuff like this, they think it supports it. Meanwhile, reality is Nintendo might be reporting in February over 15 million, plus of Switch 2s sold, and you're like, well, that doesn't seem so bad now, does it? No, because it's factually not. We're in this weird place where it's like, man, Nintendo's obviously happy with how well the system is selling. That's why they upped their projections. Nintendo themselves isn't making price cuts because obviously they think it's selling good enough for their expectations. And meanwhile, most of us that own a Switch 2 seem to just get happier and happier with the platform the longer it's out as more and more games come out, because games are, after all, why we bought the damn thing. So, I don't know. I think it's just a really interesting perspective where, you know, people will argue, people like me are trying to twist things just to be positive. Look, I don't know if it's good or bad how well Switch do this holiday season because we don't have any numbers. We don't have any context for any of this. We just have PlayStation did really well, which I would expect it to when they're selling some systems for $150 off. Like, yeah, I expect them to sell pretty well when you're doing that. You know, if Switch 2 would have even dropped down to like $400, it too probably would have also sold really well. Like, come on, this isn't rocket science here. People in the holiday season are looking for deals. And like it or hate it, the Mario Kart bundle for Switch every holiday was a deal because it was $300 and you got Mario Kart for free. So, yeah, they're kind of doing that again with these 10% off on these bundles. At least the retailers are doing that. So, I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. I do really love talking about sales data, but also it's just in context of, hey, it's going to lead to us getting more stuff. Don't really care who sells better. PlayStation 5 selling incredibly well. It deserves it. It's a good platform. Everyone knows GTA is coming to it next year. Going to be a top selling platform next year as well. And there's probably other great big giant exclusives or timed exclusives anyways coming from Sony and others. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you guys in the next video.